I'm Sue Smith sitting in for Aaron Rand. James Mennie joins us. Hello, James.
Hello, Sue.
James is a reporter, columnist, and editor at the Montreal Gazette. He joins us every day at this time. And James, you want to talk about wine and the Quebec voter. Do we care?
Yeah, we do. I think we may be onto something. We were joking about it earlier this week. How Quebec, because it loves the SAQ, because Quebec never saw a monopoly it didn't worship. Quebec has yet to sign on. We're getting these kind of dog ate my homework kind of, no, we have to change legislation, and we're in recess right now. We can't do this, we can't do that. Every Quebec politician thus far has fought tooth and nail to maintain and indeed expand the SAQ's monopoly on liquor sales. And it's kind of funny because after I mentioned this to you on air, a listener emailed me and said, well, Eric Jane was talking about this last week, and indeed he was. He was pointing the finger at Christine Cochette, saying, listen, we're the only ones who haven't done it. Why are you so busy protecting the SAQ's monopoly rather than the interests of Quebec consumers? And the fact is, obviously, the deficit-riddled CAQ government needs every nickel and dime it can get, and the SAQ, even though sales are down, is still, priming the pump for the government. But what's crazy here is, and I just decided, let me look up what the latest figures are. Quebecers drink 23 to 25 liters a year of wine. Liters of
Only?
wine. Yeah, well, listen, that's not too shabby.
No, it's not.
And the fact is, I've always wondered whether there's going to be this kind of a clash between, the disconnect, the bubble, the media bubble, the government bubble, that this is what's important, identity, language, blah, 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 blah. Oh, did you see what this person may have meant about the Quebec nation? And meanwhile, the Quebec voters are out there, regardless of what language they speak, are saying, what do you mean I could get cheaper wine? And this is one of the things about the cross-border agreement that the other 9 provinces have signed. Direct-to-consumer wineries, you could go on our website and buy wine anywhere in the country. And, you pay for the shipping. And the handling.
No, you can't. No. I tried to buy from Mission Hills, and they're BC, and they wouldn't ship to me because I was in Quebec. No, that's the problem.
I think that's just bigotry on their part, don't you?
No.
This is crazy. No. Our money still has the Queen on it.
Yeah, I know.
Still got good old Borden on the $100 bill.
Yeah. Well, I don't really understand what the actual legislation is, because really, I get your point, but what's the difference if they're getting their profit from wines from France or wines from BC or Ontario or even Quebec?
No, but the thing is, you're eliminating that monopoly middleman, right? Direct to consumer literally means that.
Yeah.
Now, if the government wants to impose sales tax, but then again, that would be a dispute, I guess. I have no idea what the BC sales tax is.
No.
I know in Quebec they would not. This is one of the things that nice Christine Frechette did not give an exemption on sales tax to, right? Mm-hmm. So, but this is the thing. But the fundamental issue here, I think, is what people care about as opposed to what politicians and political observers care about. And of course, never the twain shall meet. But I'm wondering if finally we're going to see that divide become extremely, extremely wide in this campaign. And indeed, even yesterday when we were talking about Charles he didn't have a brainstorm. This is not rocket science. The idea was, what, we're in Canada. Let's make Canada work for us. Let's cooperate. Let's create alliances, economic agreements, and this and that. And of course, you've got these 2 parties like the CAQ and the PQ who have done nothing but fuel themselves on grievance, and it's always someone else's fault. Say, this is ridiculous. It's too federalist. I didn't hear anybody saying that he was au genou. But the week is young. Maybe he will be accused of or even being on his belly towards the federal government. But the thing is, people out there. I hate those people that always speak for all Quebecers. I make an educated guess that most people in this province right now are worried about their bottom line, worried how much. Maybe they're not worried about, winding up in the poorhouse, as my ma used to say, but, they'd like to make ends meet. And if you can get a better deal on something, why not? No matter what language you speak, you're getting gouged when you go buy your groceries. I'm sorry, folks. Somewhere in there, the prices went up. I mean, in the wake of the pandemic, they all went up and they never came down again. And it's crazy. But the fact is, if some politician turns around and says, this is how we can actually, and never mind some, ridiculous $100 a year tax break, if we can actually put a dent in your expenses, who the hell's not going to vote for that? Who's not going to be in favor of that?
Be interesting to see what the impact is on the SAQ, if you can do direct to consumer. But also, I would like to see, even if the SAQ took it, it would be nice to see products from other provinces on our shelves.
Absolutely. I mean, what is the problem? I mean, Ontario wines, like I said, BC wines, there is this real mentality, this real blinkered mentality that has existed. It's not new. It's existed for decades in Quebec about buying in Quebec. I mean, when I hear the words, food autonomy alimentaire, it's like, God forbid we be surrounded by the rest of the world. We'll be able to grow our own food and survive. There's always been this kind of, it's us against everybody, when in fact, it costs more to be against everybody, as opposed to like turning around and saying, well, listen, you know what, here's the choice. We're going to give you some choices, which is something, in Canada, a lot of people say we have a lot of monopolies up on our face, but certainly in Quebec, it's become absolutely ridiculous. So the idea that maybe if a politician, I would love to see if someone like James of the Conservative Party just derails one of the leaders' debates and just hijacks it and starts talking about wine. I would love to see that, because you know what? I think that would be everyone's lead that night and the next day on how the debate went.
All right, let's go. Let's look farther afield and this war with Iran that President Trump seems to be intent on waging. Is there a way that we can avoid being collateral damage?
I don't think so, simply because, and I heard you talking to your retired general or whatever yesterday, and the thing was, it's getting bigger. It's expanding.
It is.
The actual theater of combat operations, the targeting is getting further and further afield. I saw at one point there's a suggestion that Egypt might get tangled up in it.
Yep.
The bottom line here is it's going to be very difficult for us. And I'm not just talking about oil, but I'm talking about just in terms of the international dynamic right now. I know we'll get a lot of text for my having said this there, Sue, but how long before Trump actually drags the U.S. into kind of the North Korea zone, like a rogue nation? We don't care what anyone else does, and no one in the U.S. seems to care what he does. But meanwhile, this war is getting bigger. We don't really know, and we certainly cannot trust the numbers that the Americans are putting out in terms of their casualties. But all that said, third party media are saying, the Iranians hit this. There was an attack on this U.S. installation. We're not seeing that all over the U.S. media, but it's going to be very, very difficult, I think, for Canadians, whether in terms of business, in terms of travel. If this war, and I almost said conflict, but let's face it, if this war keeps getting bigger, it's going to be very, very difficult for us not to, how can I put it, I wouldn't say caught in a crossfire, but, certainly have to keep our heads down as the shooting's going on.
Yeah, well, I thought what you were going to say is I wonder if, President Trump would ask Canada to get more involved. I don't even know if that would mean militarily. I don't know if we have the potential.
Well, he's already said we have no military.
Well, that's
but
it.
You know what? Given the way his perception of reality changes about every 48 minutes, maybe he'll turn around and say that, we should use our military might. But it's just the kind of thing where, okay, yeah, you can look at the stock market. And, the stock market always bounces back. But when you look at where the news is coming from, and this got way bigger than the Straits of Hormuz.
Yeah.
And the idea that Trump is signing deals with Saudi Arabia, which some people think is not the smartest thing anybody could do, much less Donald Trump, in terms of giving them some kind of nuclear capability, even if it's just for power. It's just all these things. And I know yesterday when you were having your interview there, you mentioned the words World War III. But when I look at this, I think of World War I. I think of how dominoes began to fall and no one knew how to stop it, because basically nobody was in charge and nobody wanted to take charge.
No, and it's already spiraling out of control and more countries are entering.
Yep.
And, Well, let's not go there yet, though. Let's not go there.
No,
yet.
because it's, you know what? It's August in Quebec. It's we didn't get.
Hey, it's still July, James. It's the 30th.
It's August. Well, I'm just, you know,
Projecting.
I'm looking. I'm projecting, indeed. You know, I always have to advance the story.
You're in the weekend already.
There you go. Exactly.
All right, we'll talk tomorrow. Thanks, James. Bye.
iHeartRadio is throwing it back
2010s, the decade.
to the days of huge hits and unforgettable anthems. A non-stop stream of the biggest and best.
Drake, Rihanna, Beyonce, Katie, Gaga, The Weeknd.
And more. All your decade-defining favorites all in one place.
Hi, it's Katy Perry.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
This is Kesha.
Find 2010's The Decade on the free iHeartRadio app. Preset the station so it's always one tap away.